is Nihon Goshin Aikido? Before I answer that, I have to talk a bit about the term Aikido. And this day and age, Aikido has taken a bad rap. And for whatever reason, I'm not really going to go down that road, why and whatever, but I know better. I've been doing it for 28 years, and my instructor has been doing it over 50 years, and it's got a very strong lineage, and it's a very, very, very effective art if you're trained in the correct manner, with the right focus. But the term Aikido is in Japan in the early days of when they codified the arts and started disseminating them to the world. Aikido was a generic term. Any art that used the idea of the circle and energy derived from the circle was termed an Aiki art or Aikido. Now, the two gentlemen I'll talk about is Morihei Ueshiba and Shoto Morita. Morihei Ueshiba is perhaps or is the most famous of the two. He's the one you see in those early films, old guy, very frail looking, wispy beard, white wispy beard, who was throwing his students all over the dojo. He's the one that formulated Hanbu Aikido, headquarters Aikido. He was a student of Sukaku Takeda, which was under the Daiteru Aikijujutsu branch. And Daiteru is the mother art of Aikido. So he's the one that sent out all his black belts and disseminated the art to the world and made it famous. There are many, many styles of Aikido. A lot of his senior ranks left and formed their own brand or own emphasis of Aikido. I won't name all of them, but a few of the famous ones is Koichi Tohei, Gozo Shioda, Tomiki. There's several ones that stand out that made their brand, or a certain brand of Aikido famous. Now, like I said, everyone saw Morihei as this frail, most of these famous movies or films, these clips you see of him when he was an older age, but if you read any accounting of him in his early days, in his 40s and 50s, all his students write the same thing. He was a taskmaster, he was brutal, his technique was very hard. They all felt his technique for sure. It was only later on when he got older and got more involved in religion and involved a lot of the spiritual aspects of the art and more key in the art, energy in the art, did it change a bit. But in his early days, is very close to what we do. That's the reason I'm making that parallel. So there's two lines, right? If Ueshiba is over here and Daiteru is up here. Again, I'm being very simplistic. Those of you who are historians of the arts, I apologize, but I'm not like a PhD authority on this. I've been doing this a long time and I know some stuff, but this is the basic of it, okay? So your Ueshiba's on this side, Shoto Morita, which is the founder of arts, on this side. And in this side is other arts, like Hapkido was another famous one that I trained in early on, which is the Korean variant of that. And you have Daiteru up here, okay? So we're over here. Nothing to do with Hanbu. It doesn't mean we're not Aikido. Our roots are the same. Now, the only different thing that Shoto Morita did, and in my opinion, I applaud, it's genius, and in his time, he was very much a pioneer, I think. That's the way I look at it. So everyone knows what MMA is. MMA is mixed martial arts. We all know it today. You know, this UFC is synonymous with MMA. MMA is mixed martial arts, right? Most fighters train in some type of boxing or striking art, Muay Thai. They train wrestling. They train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the ground for submissions and chokes and all that. And they do a variety. And their regimen is days where they specialize in all these to make themselves as formidable possible to win contests. And if you look at Nihon Goshin Aikido, although it's not competitive in any way, that's what Shoto Morita did. So Master Morita was a high-level practitioner of various arts. One of those was Daiteru Aikijujutsu, which is where all our joints and joint locks and takedowns come from. And then there is karate, where our strikes come from, specifically Shotokan karate in our case. There is kobudo, which is weapon arts. In our system, we teach nunchaku, the stick or baton, and knife. For whatever reason, the sword and the jo, the short staff, didn't make it over like they have in Hanbu. But we do teach sword concepts in our techniques because that's where Daitaru comes from. A lot of the techniques are based off sword movements and sword geometry. And he had other training in other esoteric arts, nerve pressure point arts and all that stuff. But so he took not just the best techniques of an art to make some super art. He took which is harder, what he did was harder than doing that. Anybody can take the best techniques and put them together. It doesn't make it a cohesive art. What he did was take a variety of techniques that would make all walks of life be able to apply it. Meaning that this person over here might be good at leg sweeps or be initially better at leg sweeps and hip throws, but this person over here, for whatever reason, is better at wrist locks and other joint locks and takedowns. Now, ultimately, we all want to get to the place where we're equal in all of them, but he did it in a way where there was very situationally specific techniques, and there was techniques that spoke to all walks of life, whether it be weapon strikes or the actual techniques themselves from Daitaru. So in my opinion, that was very, very forward thinking for his time. This was in the 40s and 50s. And it was very much a person that looked ahead. Now, unfortunately, he died at a young age. His stepson took over, and he died at a young age. Luckily, though, Richard Bo, Sensei Bo, was stationed in the military in northern Japan, where the art originated from, and he was able to bring it over in the 60s and open up a school in New Jersey. So he made the art famous here in the States. Now, from what I understand now, the Nihon Goshin hasn't been taught in Japan for a long time, and in the States is where really the only place you can find it. So it's up to us to grow it. Maybe one day we'll take it back to Japan, who knows? But, so that's kind of the early history. That's what Nihon Goshin is. What I will say, the last thing I will say about it, and by the way, you can go online and there's search Nihon Goshin Aikido history, and you will get all this information. So, and more. But what I want to say about the art is that because it was built that way by Master Morita, it lends itself to growth. It lends itself to periodically being redefined and always evolving. That's kind of our association, Mr. Weber's outlook on redefining the art, my outlook on evolving the art based on that redefinition, and I've strived to do that. And I've talked a bit about how I'm starting, or not starting, have been now for the last 6 years, working in Kali and Filipino concept methodologies into the art, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu concepts for more effective self-defense, ground defense in the art, to make it better in the art. So that's why I've always loved the art, because you always saw that the growth and potential for it, the ceiling always raises based on the practitioner. It lends itself to being a foundation just to grow on constantly. And I always shake my head at instructors who take this art and just put it in a closet somewhere and just teach it the way they learned it and never challenge themselves and never explore on how we can continue to grow the art. For me, that's a sin. I think you have to be responsible in the way you do it. Of course, you don't want to bastardize the art. You don't want to make it look like nothing you trained in. But there's certainly a room to responsibly do that. Responsibly continue to evolve the art, and to ask honest questions and seek honest answers. And that's kind of what I'm doing, and that's where I'm coming from with my direction in the art. Hopefully, it will be my legacy in the art.